So when I bought the bike 7,000 kilometers ago at 80,000, it was a mess. So I've done really very intrusive on the brake system, the fuel system, the final drive, the gearbox, the clutch. I mean, yeah, I went all in, electrical system. But now after 7,000 kilometers, you can see the bike needs, I can feel the bike needs a new maintenance cycle. So basically I'm gonna do 9 points. Yeah, I have them here on a list. So I will add some injector cleaner. This is of course to help a little bit cleaning the injectors. These are the injectors of a 1200 that I installed, not the ones of the 1000. This is an upgrade, and it gives a little bit smoother reactions. I will clean the bike, of course. I will use some Eurol engine flush. This is to just get rid of the carbon deposit in the engine. Of course, the engine oil will be swapped and the filter. Same with the gearbox and the final drive. It's here. And then I will add a BMC air filter. This is a washable air filter that gives more, a little bit more reaction on the gas. Then I will do a valve clearance check. It's easy going on this bike. The brakes will be bled. It's of course necessary. They say in the manual every year, so at least every 2 years. There's a little bit play in here. And then of course the throttle bodies has to be set. You work actually with a couple of cables. This one, there's one cable, a long one. The second one is from the gas. Then you have 2 cables on the throttle bodies. They all go into one housing and they need to be calibrated. The same with the BBS screws, the brass bypass screws. I need to calibrate as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a long one, more than an hour and a half. But maybe you can just go into, you know, what you need. I also give some additional tips on the mirror and on the how to install, reinstall these fairings. So yeah, enjoy the video. So the first thing I'm gonna do is injector cleaner, but I'm gonna heat the bike up 15 minutes. Alright, everything is cleaned up. As you can see, the bike is ready. And now I'm gonna add some engine flush. You have to do this with the oil. It says warm up, turn off, add, idle, change. So I'm gonna do that. Just gonna add this thing. The reason I do this is this bike was been standing for 20 years. So I've been riding it for 7,000 kilometers with new oil, new filter, and after a lot of maintenance. So this is like after the first 7,000. I'm just gonna do this one time. So the first oil change is gonna be extra clean. Then I add a new filter and such. So I also have a nice engine, new filter. The injectors will be clean, you know, with the new fuel cycle, with the additive, and then I can regulate those. And then I hope it will be, will be a little bit better, or at least stay within the same. Sorry about that. It stays within the same quality of riding. Some extra tip: when you let the bike idle for 15 minutes after you do the engine flush, added the engine flush, then you should put your bike in gear. So you also have to change this oil of the final drive and the gearbox. So you can put the bike in first and second and third, just go a little bit to the first 3 gears. Get this thing all warmed up. Yeah? Otherwise, the fluid will not go out as smooth as you would expect. Another alternative, maybe better alternative, is to take it for a ride. Yeah? So 15 minutes, you ride around, and then you can change it. For me, this is how it is now. Maybe next time I do it differently, but don't forget this. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that the bolts that are necessary for refilling the oil, I crack them open first. That means if you, this one, for say, you release it, and then this one, you crack the bolt, something happens, you cannot open it, you lose the bike until you get this this bolt out. Same here. So you always should check. First you take the top one, this is for refilling, and then you take the bottom one. In this case, I use these type of Allen keys. These give you the most chance of success. success. Also, when you open these, the air pressure, 1 bar, is gonna help you get the oil out easy. Yeah. So you take it out completely. That's it. And then afterwards you take the bottom ones. Go. This one is good, hot. This one is a bit cold, but that's fine. So I'm gonna start with this one. Here we go. This is like water. Release this one. So while everything is draining, I'm gonna do an inspection. You can see this oil is in pretty good condition. I will check afterwards if there's a swarf in there or not. But now I'm just gonna check like the caliper here, the brakes. So it helps if you turn the wheel as well, of course. And the oil, or the last little bit, will also go out. You can see the engine oil. It's really everything's out there. I also smell a lot, some residue of fuel, like maybe that's with the flush. And this one is already leaking a little bit, so that was maybe a little bit overfilled. You can see. So let's put this one here. Furthermore, I'm just going to check the bolts of the subframe, just all little details. This one I have to refill. Here I'm going to check everything, the boot, the connecting here, the clamps, everything is still shut. I will have to reset those. I'll check the spark plugs in a minute. And then here the same. So I'm gonna check the back of the bobbins. If there's something missing or something bent, or so you can see there is corrosion and there is play. It's something I have to follow up, because if it gets more and more, it's always going to increase, and in the end, yeah, then you're going to endanger yourself. So I will have to replace. You can replace these bobbins. So it's about €80, I think, for one wheel. So that's not too bad. For the rest, I don't see any leaks. It's also an important point. So yeah, that's about it. We check everything. No loose connections. So it seems pretty good. Huh? The wheels as well, I checked for because you drive every day, ride every day, you can get a pothole and a dent. So check on this one, because you can lose air over time. Excuse me. Yeah. So I'm gonna change the air filter as well. Let it drain for another 5 minutes. So the air filter is pretty simple. There's a sensor, airflow sensor. You can remove this one on top. You have more room, 2 clamps for the casing. That's it. This was a new one from last year. As you can see, it's perfect. You can check if there's oil inside. Yeah, excessive dust. There's some damage here. I don't understand. This is a compatible filter. It's not an OEM, it's high flow. But yeah, no pigeons inside or something crazy, leaves. It's good, but yeah, I do always highway with it, so that's a good thing. You check inside, there's some dust, so I'm just gonna take a rag. Don't blow it in, don't blow in there. Just take a rag with some brake cleaners and catch it. Afterwards you can blow, but first myself this one. It's, I guess, a little bit better than the paper one. BMC K&N. It's already lubricated. I don't know if it says top or bottom. There's markings here. So I'm just gonna put the markings where it's visible. There's way more room in the airbox, you can see. And this is a good thing because you can see here it's been pushing, and here I have more air around so it can suck in easy. The centrifugal forces, yeah, so it's just gonna get more air in there, which is good. There's this paper here. Some stickers. Since I'm the only one maintaining it, I have the choice. I'm gonna put it on there, it's cool. You never know. Guarantee. Disposal information, which will never happen in my lifetime. Replacement. Let's see what they say. It's in Italian. It's cleaning information, general cleaning information. Minerali. Maybe it's in English. Correctly placed in the housing, making sure that the whole filter profile is well sealed. Nothing about top or bottom. So yeah, another tip is to open your garage a bit, because the smell is really crazy for the oil, removing the oil. I think I'm just gonna do it like this. Use some brake cleaner. It's fine. There we go. I don't care if it's offset. It's a motorcycle. It should be offset. So now it's these two guiding pins. Press it in. It fits well. Here we go. Clamp. The air mass sensor. Voila. You can see, yes, there's some swart up there, yeah. So I don't like this. It's a lot at 7,000 Ks. I don't know if it's normal, but what you have, if you put it in second, from first into second, and you release the clutch, it's always gonna grab, and you feel that. I think it's typical for these older drivetrains, but of course there's a lot of juice coming off. And yeah, I mean, if it ever breaks down, I'll just buy a second-hand one and replace it. That's the good thing with these bikes, 100,000 parts for it. a new copper washer. You just buy this for 15 euro or something. I don't know how much it costs anymore, but you're just gonna crush it, right? Because where's the original one? You can see it's been reused a trillion times. Now, there are two ways to do this. One is you just use hand tight, because this is aluminium and the bolts are steel, so the bolts always wins when the thread comes to its, you know, when it comes to the tug of war between the thread on the housing and the thread on the bolt. When you just hand tight it, and then you verify it. You write, you verify, you know, you just feel it, and when it's not leaking, it's okay. When it leaks, you put a little bit more, or you use the torque spec, and you, if it says, I don't know how much it is, I have to check, you can add a little bit less, like 2 or 3 Newton meter, because it's old. The thread always wears out, and after 20 years, 30 years, it's just a matter of time. If you use the same torque spec, it's here on the engine block, I have it. The guy has always torqued it too much, and I just feel it. I just have to feel with the hand, or I'm just, if I use the torque setting, I think it's 25, I'm gonna ruin the thread. So that's a little bit of a deviation of the normal standard, but with old bikes or old mechanical setups, you have to think like this. So now I'm gonna remove that one on the gearbox. You need an extension socket. That's a good one. There we go. Yeah, here they have a special tool for this. You place it in there and it's just gonna go smooth. Don't care about it, just clean it up afterwards. It's gonna go on the exhaust. There we go. Hey, stop doing this. It's going a little bit everywhere, but it's pretty clean as well. It's the same state. So just to show you, it's the same. A lot of swarf in there. But you can feel those gearboxes. If you know the motorcycle, you know it's a lot of false neutrals. You really have to preload your gear shifter, release the gas smooth on the throttle, and then push it through, because otherwise in second and third they're pretty clunky, but if you get used to it, they're pretty okay. And if you drive them slow, it's better. Voila. It's gonna be the old-fashioned way. The screwdriver and a hammer, you tap it out, yeah. So I already pried a hole in it, and I'm just gonna try and, if it moves a little bit, it's not very stuck. I can do it by hand. Try some bigger ones. I have to go back I forgot about that one. So you can see I just pushed a hole in it, and now with the screwdriver I'm able to move it. So this is the old-fashioned way if you don't want to buy your 10th or 15th oil filter tool. Universal one will not work, so maybe I'm just gonna take myself in for the future. I'm just gonna buy one. You can see it's the original BMW one. So yeah, it's what it is. But happy it's out. As you can see, the high flow and the BMW one, they're almost identical. So this is a good thing. A little bit higher, bigger holes, so there's going to be less pressure. There's going to be more speed on the oil. But I think here you can see on the inside there is a, you can see for, I think it's for extra strength, and this one is open. There's less going on. Of course the weight is difficult to tell because this one is still saturated. The reason you fill up your oil filter is that you have a full oil filter. When you start your engine the first time, it could be that the oil starts pumping, it's gonna go fast, a couple of seconds, but this is a gap in your oil system that needs to be filled first. It takes a little bit more time, so just fill it up with oil. So it goes directly where it should go. That's up and in the engine. We clean it up decently because there's no way you can go back afterwards. Not in this one. So the trick is now hand tight like this, and then you take some sandpaper. You have more grip. And you just do it hand tight. Because of the oil seal, it's gonna suck itself stuck. Here we go. Wow. Perfect. This is a view from the swarf I have from the engine. So basically it's quite a lot. It is small. It is not white metal, so it's not from bearings. It is something that has partly been circulating in the engine, 7,000 kilometers. But also I think a lot had to do with the engine flush I did, 15 minutes. I think engine was already hot, then 15 minutes running hot, and then I drained it. I drained the oil, so I think a lot will come from there. But as you can see here, this is mostly from the gearbox and the final drive, but also partly from the engine. And I know there are magnets on the gearbox and the final drive. There's no magnet on the engine block, so I will try and maybe place a magnet somewhere on the bottom, not on the filter, because it will just search. There's a lot of pressure on the filter, and if you put a magnet in there, it's gonna when the oil is sinking, it's gonna take the metal, it's gonna sink it down, but then because of the oil pressure, it's gonna pump it back right in into the system. On a lot of acceleration. So it's better than that it's stuck in some corner or something where it can't move. So yeah, maybe something to take in consideration, because although there's no bearing damage, for me there is too much of a deposit. So I'll have to see in the future if it intensifies. I have to take steps. Go. About 25. Is the same. Nine. Release it, tie it again. That's it. For the final drive and for the gearbox. This is a Dutch brand, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you want to put something else in there, for me it's all fine. It is 250 milliliters in this one, about 1 liter in that one, but I only have 1 liter, so we will see. So 250, just take a pen, means we have 1 liter, it's 750, right? 6, 7, just make a mark, it's easy. Same thing, new crush washer. $21.5. For this one, I'm just gonna put it on the side stand, and so it's a little bit angled. And if you have one like this, it's really easy, and you can just take your time. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna wait with the oil change until I check the spark plug and the valves, which is the next step I'm gonna do. Basically, you have to remove this, the covers, and then you can just do very easily the valves. There are 4 valves and it's straightforward. So I'm gonna start with removing all these on 2 sides, and then I'm gonna do the valves. So I'm not gonna change this gasket. I changed it 7,000 kilometers ago, and I mean it still looks solid. It's with it's not just rubber. It only comes with iron thread inside. It's very strong. So it's up to you if you want to change them all the time, but they cost like 16 euros each. I'm just gonna see if they ever start leaking. It's very easy to replace, and then you replace them. So it's not the end of the world if they start leaking, and then you can anticipate. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is now. It's good enough. Go. Same here, just clean it up. You can see it will collect some dirt, yeah, from driving around. Just clean it up, make it, grease it, get a little bit of red rubber grease, and it's good to go. You take the 16 millimeters. Fairly easy. That looks very good. Yes, normal wear and tear. It's no use to replace them every year. So you do the same procedure on the other side. See, it's already going deeper. I'm gonna push out. Now it's going back in. Going deeper. Going further. Going deeper. So you just find that middle spot. So you saw me using the rear wheel in 5th gear to get the other side, the first cylinder on the left side, in top dead center. That means both your valves are open between intake and exhaust. Yeah, there's always a moment that your exhaust valve, your intake valve will be open when your exhaust valve is open, to increase the scavenging air, so you don't have used gases in your cylinders. So that could be like create a spontaneous ignition in your cylinder. You don't want that. That's why you have this overlap. So on the other side is between intake and exhaust. This means 1 cycle more in your 3rd timing of your 4-stroke. You have the compression. This is, both valves are closed. and this is where the cylinder is, and you want the cylinder in an auto. This is from an auto cycle, OTTO. This is basically for more prestige, a more sporty way of riding. It's not that efficient for fuel economy, but it's like a very good system for motorcycle, an ancient system for tuning and timing. So in this case you want this overlap and this scavenging, but here you want it to be on the compression. So theoretically, and also in this bike and in most bikes, you would want your tuning done or your calibration done on the compression. So what you do is you take 4 of these. BMW recommends you don't do 2x2 but 4x4. So I have one of 0.3 and then one of 0.3 that I built from multiple feeler gauges, and the same with 0.15. This is your intake. Here goes your fuel air mixture, your exhaust. 2 valves, 2 valves. So we have to make sure everything is as much as possible within spec, so you have the best possible way of scavenging, of cooling your exhaust valves. Yeah, you just want the best production possible. So we have to install these and make sure that everything's all right. So when you put them over there in the right in the right way, and you can put them here a little bit better in the middle. We use this one to release the counter nut and this one to tighten. You release a little bit and you tighten. That's it. Now it's too tight. Yeah, this is perfect. These need to be a little bit tighter as well, so you go back and forth until it's okay. Okay. Like that. A little bit more. Yep. Nice and tidy. Make sure the counter nuts are stuck. And the exhaust. It's too loose. Better. And now this one. The more I tighten this one, the more this one comes looser. So perfect. Too loose. It's perfect. That's good. Also good. Perfect. Yes. It's not perfect, but it's 90%, right? 95 maybe. So last thing I'm going to do is airify. It's really the counter nut is really tight. You don't want it to come loose, because these blocks, they really vibrate a lot. These old Boxsters. Now I'm gonna turn the wheel one cycle. There we go. I think I'm... Here we are. So once you see the markings again, then you know your the other side is ready to go. These will be tight, unable to move. I'm just going to install a cover. Two things to take into consideration. This one should be reinstalled to dry. If they're really clean, don't bother, just install them. If they're dirty, clean them up and find out why your bike is running lean or just poor. Usually it has something to do with the fuel or bad combustion. Yeah, so that you should figure out. And then this one I'm just gonna clean up a little bit. This is your oil seal that protects, it keeps the oil away from the spark plug. Also, should you have oil in there, and this one is probably bad. What I also do, I take some red rubber grease. It keeps your oil seals vibrant over time. So I don't like to change them every time because it's been 7 months ago I've done this. Imagine I have to change all the time. It's crazy. If I have issues, I will change them, and maybe after 3 years or 4 years or 5 years I will see. So just a little bit of grease on there. This one I also reuse. They're a bit annoying to install, but there's only one way they can go. Voila. This one plugs in here. It goes like this. just don't over tight those. They're only 8 Newton meters, so if you're gonna over tighten them with this, you're gonna go easy at probably 10-15 Newton meters, and then your torque wrench has no use. So just take it easy. You don't want to cross the threads on this one, because that's a lot of work. Voilà. This one goes on 20 Newton meters. Install it dry. Then this one, the bottom one, I really had some issues to really very hard. Yeah, it's not really, it's really hard on the threads. There's a lot of dirt there, a lot of heat. So I'm just gonna use some copper grease. It helps me releasing it for the next cycle. Go. Voilà. coil is back. That's it. The one thing I do, this is maybe a good tip. I use a small tie wrap like this. Just drill 2 holes in it, because I already lost one. I'm not gonna lose a second one. So you just go around it like that. Make sure it has a bit of play. There you go. So if it comes loose, it's just will stick on the cable. I'm gonna refill with oil, so make sure the plug is in there, the filter is in there, everything is tied up. So it's time. I think it's about 3.5 liters. So you just fill it up, don't overfill it. What I do is I rather have less oil. Yeah, then take my measurements, rather 3 times and add, so I don't have to tap some excess oil. Just take your time in 2 or 3 steps. As you can see now, the oil level is perfect, but the engine is cold. That is obvious if you change. If you set the valve specification is with a cold engine, so you have to be sure of that. And also you have to do the test run and then let it sit for 10 minutes, and then it has to be in between the markings. It should never be on top. This is too much. That means you're gonna get too much splash, too much oil pressure, and you're just gonna ruin your engine. All your seals inside are gonna get too much pressure over time. So take this in consideration. This is the maximum. Probably I will have to add another 1/3 of a liter, excuse me, after doing the initial test run. And you can also see this the screen is starting to rust, so in the next cycle I will change this, but for now I still have time. I put a lot of abuse on the brakes, you could say, while practicing, emergency stops, all that, and it's a relatively old system, although it has been revived and revised last year. I'm just going to check how the fluid is. If it's not colorated, then I won't change it. If it has already a strange color, like yellowish, I will change it. There we go. That looks okay. The manual says change it every year. But I don't think it's necessary. I'm just gonna take the top off, and then I'm gonna you can go a little bit more, but just have to be sure that you don't go until the air goes in. Same color. That's okay. A little bit more. This is the best, just a normal bottle. I'm just gonna see 1 or 2 times, pump it on each side, and then it's okay. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, always take the one that's farthest away from the reservoir. You take that one first. Like, if you really want to know, just look online. There are trillion videos on how to flush your brake system, bleed your brake system. Should be fine. You can already start with just do this a little bit, and then you always open that booster, that valve, so there's already some air in there. Now it's nice. You can see it escaping. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just push 4 or 5 times. Then you hold pressure. I'm just gonna maybe first is extending this one. Yeah, it's longer, a longer way. Here we go. Gonna be fine. Voila. Now I'll go on this side. I'm not gonna go excessively because it really looks okay, but just a little bit. Okay. it goes. That's really nice brake. Voilà. See how much is still in there. It's fine. Just make sure the markings are on the right side. Voila. One important point as well, do never top this with old brake pads in there. It is, you should only top it like if you renew the brake pads, you put your pistons out, so the oil is going to come out. If you now fill it on the edge and your brake pads are halfway, yeah, you're going to push your pad, you know, your pistons back, and it's going to flow all out. So. And that's the best case if you remove this one. If you don't, you're just gonna get stuck and you're gonna ruin something. So when you push back the pistons, you should actually always remove this one first, but that's another video. Now just tie it up. Go. Tight is tight, don't overdo it. It's not a MotoGP bike where they have cooking brake fluid every session. It's fine, this one. Bring it up, check the brake, yeah, it's very good. It's tight. Same here. With the rear brake, I'm not going to bother for a simple reason. I never use this brake. The ABS is dismantled on this bike because it came like this. The older owner, the previous owner, he was fucking around with his brake system, so I just removed it completely. This one is only used for me by the lights if I need to stable the bike on an angle. I use the rear brake. For the rest, it's more than enough. So, yeah. Okay, next step. As you can see, I've been prepping the bike, and this is basically for the first startup, but also an important maintenance item is throttle bodies. This is a throttle position sensor. You have one, and it's basically connected with the Motronic ECU. It's somewhere this one. Here normally you have the ABS here, it's disconnected. So you just have to set this. With all the documentation about the whole procedure, it's from a guy on the forum, Roger 04 RT. It's a topic from 10 years ago. Basically, I've been reading through it again because I really forgot from seven months ago. It's pretty tedious, but luckily I don't have to set today the stop screws. These are those. I had to do it last year. This is basically your basic setting, and you have to use a voltmeter to set these correctly. Now I just attached it again, so I know, I'm going to use the throttle. It's going to give a measure, but basically it has to be between 0.34 and 0.337, which is good. It's still okay, so they haven't moved. I have to check the other side. You do this by the number one, you put in, this is your feed, your positive, a pin, and you connect crocodile clamp to your voltmeter, and the other one you add here. So you can take measurements, but I'm glad it's still within specification. To set this is a real procedure. I'm not gonna go into this now because I worked on this for 3 days last time, and it's a couple of months ago. I can't remember the details. So if you really have to find it, look at this, type in Google TPS alignment, idle speed adjustments, and then you will find the 0-0 procedure. So today I just have to verify two things. One, and this is your brass, this one, I have to look if my idle is okay, and it's about okay, 1100 RPM in idle. You can adjust this with this. Then I have to make sure my throttle's all balanced. I'm going to use this. This is a carb tune. When I use it, these two measurements I have to be in the same level when I pump the gas to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 RPM and release it. Normally everything should be fine. If not, I have to make minor adjustments. So this is normally, you don't have to do this. Just never tamper with the stop screws. Don't ever do that. If your bike has been tampered with, this is the procedure like I just told you. So I'm just gonna start up the bike, check the oil is in there, everything is torqued. That means the drivetrain, the gearbox, the engine, all the oils are in there. The air filter box is tight and tidy, and all the rest of the jobs I've done, the brakes, which is not that important, but I made sure everything is okay. This is the last step for now. I only have to do the shock later. I'm still waiting for the right hydraulic oil. So yeah, let's see what happens. So for now I'm going to use the shock as well. I have a ventilator because you have to bring the bike up to temperature. This is 5 bars. That means you're going to have 5 lines here in the future. And then I'm going to start testing. But for now I'm just going to use the shock and give it a go. This is normal. Just gonna blip the throttle if I can. Okay. I'm gonna, hopefully I didn't forget anything. Okay. I'm gonna be patient. Happening. Okay, normally it's not doing that. Today it is. Okay, I found it. I bought this plug. It was a retrofit from BMW. If you have issues with on high speed with the bike, It's just not applying the fuel well. But I thought, hey, maybe it's worth a shot. Let's see how it runs. But it seems like it intervenes with my system. I'm just gonna get, it's only €9. I'm just gonna get this thing with the spare parts. And you're gonna see problem solved. I'm gonna let it idle for until it's on 5 bars. Already see I have to adjust here a little bit with the BBS screws. Then we will see. But I'll be back in 15 minutes. So the bike is hot, and you can see this is okay. This one is the same. I think the battery's gone. Yeah. So it was within spec. I'm gonna change the battery later. As you can see, it now has 6 bar, and this one is cooling. The old cooler, you have to do this, otherwise your headers will be red hot soon, and this is dangerous, of course. It's gonna melt the plastic. You have to set them at 1100. Goes back to 1100. Here, the brass bypass screws, they actually make a bypass on your vacuum. They let in a little bit of air to control the idle. You have to set them 1.5 how do you say, cycles. So this is 1.25, so it's perfect. Idling well, keep the temperature, everything's okay. Yeah, I think this is a positive test. I'm not going to tamper anymore with the system. Everything's okay. Okay, so I wasn't able to place a new battery in the multimeter. I have to order one. It's a 9 volt, and yeah, I had one laying around, but I can't find it, so it's what it is. I still have this one, so I can see it has 12 volts on the battery. put it on 60 you have a measurement, but it will not, because the difference is 2 volts or 3 volts you're gonna do when you give the gas. If you have a good alternator, you cannot see. And if I do this, maybe I can have a small reading. So I already tried, and sometimes the needle is moving, which is good. That means it's trying to measure more, but it's not that accurate. So at least I know that the alternator is not draining the battery, because sometimes when I try to start the bike, it's really cranking a little bit like it's tired. And this battery, it's lead acid. So yeah, let's see, but I'm still good for a year. By next year I will take this measurement before the maintenance, and maybe. So yeah, the next step now is assembling all the fenders and a test ride. A lot of discussion, well, a lot. You hear people asking about why do these holes not align with the fuel tank, and the reason is because of the fuel. The tank will reform a little bit over time, and it's some kind of really tough plastic, which is good for weight, but yeah, happens. So what I did, I just drilled these holes a bit bigger on the rat one here, and also over here, and then you just have to you know, screw around a little bit. These things are really solid in place once they're fitted. It doesn't really matter that one bolt is not 100% home. Just, you know, take this in consideration. You can drill some holes in here, and then it will be easy. You just have to work your way around it. A little bit nasty. I haven't done it for some time, so I just need to restart. You need to make sure here is for the water, for the heater, that it fits over there. That's it. Just a small tip. So these are essential, that you have these all these plastic, this plastic spring is in place, and you have that metal ring around it. If you don't have it, it will never fit. You also have to make sure that all these lips are behind. Sometimes when you remove it, it can move a little bit, and then you have to readjust. Otherwise you could lose the mirror. It's just you don't want that. This is after the first about 250 kilometers. I drove to work 2 times and I just added after the first ride the last bit of oil. I'm gonna show you that it's perfect now. As you can see, right in the middle. So this is how you do it. Just progressively add a little bit more. So yeah, everything else is fine. The brakes, I feel the new air filter, the BMC, is a bit better because it's a little bit more direct on the gas, which is always nice. Yeah, this was a good maintenance. I'm very happy I made a video. Next year I just watch the own video, and then it will be easier because I will forget 90% probably of the details. So yeah, thank you for being here as always. Thumbs up, and if there's something that you want me to explain or want me to do on the bike, let me know, or on one of the other bikes. Next video will be on the Tiger. I will do some Tune ECE stuff. Looking forward to that one. Thank you for being here, and peace.